What's up YouTube, Christo here, and I've got another vinyl collection video for you. Probably my at least second, maybe third most records for an artist. I think probably second, definitely behind the OCs, but pretty close to Smog. I'm not really sure exactly, but I do have a lot of Smog 7 inches, so maybe a little bit different, apples and oranges. Anyways, looking at Swans here, really important band for me. I've definitely not been into Swans as long as I should have been, but since I got into them, I've been like rabidly, avidly, listening to them. Kind of an interesting story how I kind of heard about Swans, or like I had heard of them, but I'd never heard them until probably about 2006 or 2007, and an American guy that I worked for, he was my boss. Like, he was the principal of the school and I was one of the teachers, so we figured out very early on that we had really similar musical tastes. And he's from Los Angeles, like spent most of his life there before he moved to Indonesia, and he was really into punk, indie, underground music, and he's probably a couple years under 50, probably like 46 to 49 or so, and he was just in one of the best places on earth for that time. All this early 80s American hardcore and kind of art rock and stuff like that coming out. He got me into Residence, he got me into Christian Death. We had a mutual interest or mutual love of like Dead Kennedys, Minutemen, Black Flag, so many, lots of great stuff that we kind of shared. So anyways, he was talking about playing concerts. Like, he was only in the band for a little while, but his band opened for Swans and Sonic Youth in Los Angeles in I think like 84, 85, and I've actually seen the concert poster, which is so cool. Anyways, he like spoke highly of Swans like over and over and over all the time. And I was like, you know what, I gotta check him out. I finally checked him out and just like, wow, awesome. Now, I kind of break Swans into three different eras. Their early era, like they're kind of more brutal, no wave, really heavy era. They're kind of middle era, like folky goth stuff that I'm not really big on. And they're kind of newer, more orchestral, progressive era. I think they're pretty easy to break down, and pretty much all their albums fit into one of those categories. So let's get into this because it's going to be a long video. First one, this is the only non-12 inch I have by Swans. I believe this is technically a 6 inch. It is a square flexi of New Mind version, it's called. Now this is from Reflex magazine. I believe it was a UK, I don't know, it's got dollars, so I guess it's American. Oh yeah, Pennsylvania. I thought it was British for some reason, but anyways, it's a pretty rare little flexi. I got mine for really cheap. Like, I paid a lot more than it was considering it was free, but considering, the rarity of it, and that Swans are really popular right now, I think I got a pretty good deal on it. It's pretty cool, and I really like the song New Mind, and I don't own a copy of Children of God, I believe the record's from. So everything else here, 12 inches, EPs, LPs, a few 12-inch singles and stuff, which starts my collection. A screw, I literally just picked this up recently. I filmed my collection video a couple weeks ago, and literally just a couple days later I ended up purchasing a few Swans albums online. So waited for them to arrive, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to redo it. This is good. I think there's only 3 tracks on here. Yeah, 2 versions of A Screw and Blackmail. A Screw is good. A Screw Holy Money, I should say, is good. The B-side, Blackmail, and just the regular version of A Screw. They're okay, they're nothing great. I got this for a decent price. I love this album art. I love this era that they had. I think there are 4, maybe 5 that had really similar album cover style, but I really like these. I think they look good. But yeah, it's not bad. Looks good in the collection is all. You want to talk about covers? Man, absolutely one hell of a cover. Filth EP. No, EP. Filth EP. This is, it's good. It's not my favorite. This is absolutely, no question, my favorite era of Swans. The early, heavy, lo-fi, brutal, no-wave Swans is definitely my favorite. This one is close up there for favorite record. I do really like this, but I think the cover art is just so eerie, creepy, haunting, etc. Now this is one of the recent repressings. Young God have repressed quite a few Swans records recently. I'm really looking forward to hopefully a few others coming out that I do not have, that I just refuse to pay like $100 for. But this is a really, really good record. You can find this for very, very good price. And one of my, I don't know, most prized possessions in my record collection. Not that it's necessarily worth that much, like it's not a cheap album, but it's pretty rare. This is basically, it's referred to as Filth LP number 1 or Filth LP number 1 1983, because that's exactly what it says down there in the bottom. Now what makes this even cooler is that it is pink vinyl. Swans never really did much pink or colored vinyl. It's actually kind of marbled, but you can't really see in the picture. At least when you hold it up, it appears to be marbled. Swans really didn't do many colored versions. They, pretty much were just, standard black. There are a couple here and there that are colored, but for the most part, they're pretty much all black pressings. So really happy to have this. Really cool record. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting record because this was their, I know it's not technically the first album after they reformed, but to me it's kind of like their official first album after they reformed, where they kind of fine-tuned their new orchestral sound this year. Now, I got into Swans, like I said, probably about 2006 or 2007. And then I kind of lapsed. I think I was really into like hip-hop, like horrorcore stuff for quite a long time. And I kind of fell out of touch with like my metal and punk and stuff like that. And when I kind of came back to Swans, The Seer had come out. It's like, wow, the Swans have reformed, or Swans have reformed. I didn't know they had a new album out. I listened to, I don't know, whatever tracks were online at the time. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And just, couldn't believe it. They sounded awesome. Different as well. 'Cause before they reformed, their gothy stuff I thought was really terrible. But this is a really good record. I still really enjoy this to this day. I've kind of flip-flopped with a couple of the other newer albums, but I do really enjoy this year. I'd probably put this up with Glowing Man. I don't know, it'd be tough to say if I prefer this or Glowing Man, but I'll get there when I get there, I guess. Holy Money. Okay, this is the album. I always confuse these, whether they're EPs or LPs. So this is, or a 12-inch single. This is an EP. Again, I love these covers with the stripes, the $sign, the swan spelt out like that. Now, I have to admit, this isn't a great EP. The reason I got it and the reason I had to have it, other than for collection purposes, was it is, as far as I know, the only studio version of Coward. Coward is, I don't know if I can say it's my favorite Swan song, but it's definitely up there. Like, it's just kind of the epitome of early Swans, but it's done really well. It's got really good production, and it just sounds really great. It's brutal, heavy, nihilistic, dark, amazing. I would probably say, I know this is an EP, this is simply just called Swans EP. I would probably say this is my single favorite Swans recording. It's really close, like between this and Filth. You know, I have to say this takes it for me. Mostly because the last track on the second side, Sensitive Skin, to me is just, it's amazing. I absolutely love it. It is, I would say, my favorite Swans track ever off any album, any era. Amazing track. This was recently repressed as well, just like Filth. This is so cheap. You can get this on Amazon for like $11 or something like that. Cool thing about mine, I did pick mine up from a brick and mortar store, and it is actually signed, presumably by Mr. Gira, because I can't make it out. It is a bit of a mess, but I know he does do a lot of record signing for like promotions or like repressings or pre-orders and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. Sensitive Skin, one of the best Swans tracks, the best Swans track ever. So this is kind of something that totally went under my radar. When Seer came out, I didn't even know about this record, and to be honest, I didn't even know this existed until a couple years ago. It's okay. It's just like on the hype sticker, it lists contributions from, you know, other bands and stuff, and it's like, I don't know, they're kind of getting in dangerous territory there, but luckily they don't really do that on the newer records. I really don't listen to this much. It's okay, it's better than their gothy era stuff, but like the Seer and everything after is so much better. I just don't really feel the desire to listen to this often. Oh yeah. Cop. This is my newest Swans record. Literally just arrived a couple days ago in the mail. This is a hard to find album, and I usually don't get into presentation if they're just black records, but this album is the SMS Japanese version, which is even more rare than the UK pressing. What is it, like K422? I can never remember the number, but it'll be on one of these somewhere. But yeah, this is, oh, K422. It's on the back as well. But I'm pretty sure this was licensed by SMS. Or if SMS is just the division for Japan. I don't know. Either way, this is definitely the Japanese version, as you can see here. And this is just like in impeccable condition, perfect condition. There's like slight wear around the edges, but other than that, this is like in perfect shape. This is a hard album to digest. It's heavy, it's droney, it's dark, it's ambient, it's really cool. I've literally only listened to it, like this record, once since I picked it up, but I will definitely have another listen again soon. This is such an important record in Swans kind of history, in my opinion. Now, on the other hand, this garbage. I absolutely do not like middle era Swans. I'm not going to apologize to anyone. And I think there's a lot of people out there that would agree with me. Maybe if this was a different band, if it was no connection to Swans or Mr. Gira, maybe I might like it. I was kind of into like crappy goth music in high school a bit, but just knowing that this came from a band that once sounded like this, I just can't really deal with these albums. They're just too goofy, overproduced. Like, there's a few decent songs on this album, but for the most part, I can't really listen to it. I just find it like laughably dated, unfortunately. And I know there are people that really like that era Swans, that really like this and a few other albums from that era. I just don't. Now I'm gonna save this one actually. Let me do this next. Greed, another one of the dollar symbol era records. Again, I love these. I love the covers. I love the artwork. Only, oh, there's a few more tracks. So I guess this is, oh, it's saying it's an LP. 7 or 8 tracks on here. K422 as well. This definitely not Japanese though. This is good. I can't say there's anything on here that's really amazing, but it's just a decent early no wave Swans record. You can still get it for a decent price as well. Yeah, this, man, what an absolute piece of garbage this record is. I can't stand it. I bought it literally just to finish my collection, kind of hoping it might grow on me, and it hasn't. I just, like, Love of Life and another album that I'll get to later, I can still put on and I can tolerate, but this I can't. I can't even listen to it. It's so bad. I'll put it on my turntable and I'll get through like one song and just be like, I can't listen to this. I've never been a fan of listening to bad music, ironically, either, but I don't like this. I know so many Swans fans as well that really, really dislike this album also, so again, I'm probably not going to be saying anything too earth-shattering here, but it's just, again, it's kind of goofy goth rock music that, you know, maybe I would have liked at a time and place, but certainly not now and certainly not connected to Swans. Yeah, let me get another one. Don't want to rip on too many albums all in a row. Glowing Man, the most recent record. Don't know what that was. Something fell. But their most recent record, I actually saw them in Toronto in support of this album, and they were amazing. Like literally one of the best shows I've ever been to. Just tight. Almost flawless. Jira actually fucked up himself, which is funny because he's usually the one that gets angry at the bandmates for fucking up, but it was kind of funny as well. But yeah, it was really good. I like this. This has really, really grown on me. I was a bit indifferent when I first heard it, but I'm actually enjoying this quite a lot. I don't know if I can say I like it more than Seer, but I do really like this, and if I don't prefer it, it's a very, very close number 2 for the 4 more recent records. Very, very good album. 3 discs as well as the other 2 albums of similar style are. You can still get this really cheap online as well. Really, really good, solid record. What a disappointment. I had been waiting for this to be reissued before it was even announced that it was going to be reissued. This is like, the original pressing of this is like one of the Swans' holy grails. It's, I don't know, the last I looked on Discogs, which was after this was reissued, people were listing it. It was like starting at $250, which is just insane in my opinion, but whatever. Reissued, pre-ordered it. Didn't get a signed copy, unfortunately. I was hoping I might, but I didn't. It arrived in the mail. I listened to it the night it came, and I was really disappointed. I haven't listened to this probably since about 2008 or so, not long after I heard Swans, and I kind of was just more interested in their earlier no-wave stuff. I definitely think this does kind of fit into a little bit closer with like The Burning World and Love of Life and stuff. I guess what kind of threw me is I really liked the track I Am the Sun. I still remember that, like, really clearly. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a really great track. Got the record. Awesome. Starts off with that track, and then I was just kind of like, okay. Side A's okay. B, C, pretty forgettable. And I think there are a few decent tracks on side D, but yeah, I was a little disappointed with this. I guess my fault. I should have done a bit more research. But it's just not kind of what I remembered or what I was hoping it would still be, kind of thing. To Be Kind. This is funny. This one I actually really, really liked a lot when it came out, but not digging it so much now. I find a lot of the lyrics to be kind of goofy in here, kind of like high school-esque. The music's still great, and it does have two of my favorite tracks, Screenshot and Oxygen, like for non 10-minute plus modern Swans tracks. Those are definitely my favorite. I really like those. A few of the tracks in here I just find kind of goofy, especially some of the lyrics and stuff. But musically it's still great, but I definitely say this is in third place now, behind The Seer and The Glowing Man for my favorite new Swans records. I listened to this for the first time, like on vinyl, on my stereo the other night, and I was just like blown away. Public castration is a good idea. Man. Okay, so the thing is, this is basically a live album. Well, it is a live album, but it's different live appearances. There's songs from quite a widespread, and I've heard everything. Maybe not everything, but I'm definitely familiar with a lot of the tracks on this. I put it on, I don't know if it was last night or the night before, and now some Swans records, their 12 inches are 45, some of them are 33s. Now, I went to put it on, and there's no 45-33 label, so I think I must have put it on 33, so it must have been on 33. So I started playing it and I was like, that's way too slow, there's no way. So I turned it off, reset it to play on 45, listened to it, and I was like, okay, that sounds right. And then the vocals come in and it sounds like a chipmunk, and I was like, holy shit, this is so heavy and so slow. It is actually 33. So started it back over again, set it to 33, started the track again, the vocals came in, I was like, wow, this is so heavy. It is so heavy and so slow. It's just absolutely amazing. And it's funny, like, when you look on Discogs, there's people calling this like the heaviest record ever recorded, and kind of when I first read that before I bought the vinyl, I was like, there's no way, there's stuff that's way heavier than this. And then I put it on, I was like, holy shit, that is just brutal. And you know, people are going to say like, oh, well, what about Electric Wizard? And it's like, well, Electric Wizard, what they do isn't really heavy, it's just tuning their guitars to sound really heavy. I don't know, there's a really big difference, but this is amazing. This is an amazing, amazing live album. If you truly want to hear brutally heavy and slow music, check this out. Like, you know, sludge or, you know, southern hardcore, whatever, just can't even compare to this. Like, it's just in an absolute league of its own. Unfortunately, this is insanely rare. I believe this was a Swans self-released record, and it is very expensive. I got a really, really, really good price on mine, but I think it starts at like $130 on Discog and goes up dramatically from there. And I do love this at the top. Play at maximum volume. I can't even imagine. It would like literally knock shit off my walls if I played that at full volume. Time is Money, Bastard. I don't know why I took it out of the sleeve. Kind of a habit, I guess. This one I can't really say is even that great, but I got it from the same guy that I got Ass Screw from, and he gave me a really good price. I dealt with him before, so I got a really good price. 3 tracks on this: Time is Money, Sealed in Skin, and then another version of Time is Money. It's okay, nothing great, but definitely not a bad album at all. Another stinker here. I don't know, between this and Love of Life, I'm not sure which I hate more. White Light from the Mouth of Infinity, amazing name, cool album art. The album just really stinks in my opinion though. It's more that kind of goofy 90s goth rock, although I know this or Love of Life, one was in the 80s, one was in the 90s, but late 80s, early 90s. I still think it sounds horribly dated. To be fair, there are some more songs on this that I enjoy than Love of Life, so I would say this is like the third worst, after Love of Life and Burning World, but still not a great record. You can get this really heavily discounted now, believe it or not. Last one, nothing too special, but it's definitely not a common record by any means. I have literally not even listened to this yet, and I do remember having an MP3 of this like way back, like 10 years ago or something, but I honestly couldn't, recall a song off it if I tried, like that version. There are some really good tracks on here. New Mind, which I love. God, Sex, God. Yeah, there's some good stuff on here. I just literally have not listened to it yet. So probably listen to this sometime before Tuesday, before I've got class again. But yeah, it's okay. I got it for a good price. It's not particularly that expensive anyways. I believe this was self-released as well, and it is all just like live tracks from various concerts. I believe Europe and possibly North America. But yeah, not bad. I'll have a listen to it, see if anything kind of stands out for me. But yeah, Public Castration, just, after you listen to that for like a live album, not much can live up to it. Anyways, there you go. Actually, it wasn't quite as long as I was expecting, but nearly half an hour. Anyways, there's my Swans records. I know there's a few cool things I am missing, but unless they get repressed, there's no way I'm paying what they're commanding, unfortunately. So there you go. Let me know some of your favorite Swans albums. If you have some Swans Holy Grails yourself, I'd love to know. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you again soon.